Hello guys, in this After Effects tutorials, we're going to learn how to do this. A light tunnel zoom logo reveal animation in Adobe After Effects.
Please help him get to 10K subscribers this year.
Now in Adobe After Effects, I already created a composition and added a logo. Any setting will do right here. So I'm going to select the logo, Ctrl+Shift+C to pre-compose it, and I'm going to name this logo holder. Move all attributes to the new composition, and then you hit OK. Now we're going to Ctrl+N to create a new composition. So we're going to name this F noise. Leave the setting to whatever you have using from the beginning, and then you hit OK. So right click on your timeline, go to new and create a new solid layer. We're going to name this noise. Make comp size, and then also you hit OK. Now we're going to add the effect called fractal noise. We're going to make contrast 500. Then we're going to make brightness -212. Move your time indicator to 0 and then set a keyframe for the brightness. Hit U on your keyboard to reveal the keyframe. Select this keyframe right here and move it to 3 seconds forward in time. And then right here, we're going to change the brightness to -65. Expand, transform, uncheck the uniform scale. We're going to make the width 3500. Then we're going to go down to evolution. We're going to alt click or option click and then enter this expression time asterisk 100. Let's turn off this effect. Select this icon at the bottom here, and then you select the proportional grid. So you're going to have to pick the rectangle tool. Then you mask this area like this. So pull in, double click on the mask and expand it way up. So select the layer, hit F on your keyboard and increase the mask. Further, we have to increase this to 300, maybe 250. So fit this to your preview window, enable your fractal noise again, and this is what you're gonna have. Now switch this back to the project manager window, and below it here create the new composition icon, and we're going to create a new composition. We're going to name this tunnel stroke, and then retain every other settings that you have before, and then you hit OK. So we're going to drop this F noise into it. Now let's turn off our grid. So we're going to add an effect called CC cylinder. Alright, that is CC cylinder for you. In case if you do not have the plugin I'm using to search for effect, you can always go to the right side of your screen. You see these effects and presets. You can also search all those plugins right here. If you do not have this, you can go to window and then activate this panel. So the plugin I'm using right here is making it easy for me to search what I'm looking for. So now back to the effect. Now we're going to make some changes to these parameters. So we're going to expand the rotation and then make the X rotation 90. Let's expand the light right here. So we're going to set a color, and this time feel free to choose whatever color you like. So at the moment you cannot see the color. That is because you still need to make changes to the shading right here. You need to change the ambient to 0. Now expand the position parameters. So we're going to come to 3 seconds forward in time and then set a keyframe for the Z position. I'm going to change this value to -910. At 0, we're going to change this value for the Z position to -4300. Hit U on the keyboard to reveal the keyframes. Select all the keyframes. Hit F9 on your keyboard to ease. Switch to the graph editor. So select the keyframe right here, double click on it. Set incoming to 90 and outgoing to 85. Now we can just set a color label for this just to keep it organized. This is not necessary, but it's optional. So now we're going to Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate this. Move your time indicator to 4 seconds forward in time. Hit N on the keyboard to set the preview limit. So if you scrub through now, you see that the strokes are not staying too long. You can see them right there. So to fix this, we're going to double click on this N fractal noise layer. Hit U on the keyboard to reveal the keyframe. So what we're going to do now is to move this keyframe to 2 seconds forward in time. Then we're going to Ctrl C on the keyboard to copy this. We'll come back to 1 second backward in time, then Ctrl V to paste it. So we're going to copy this last keyframe right here, the one at 3 seconds. Then we'll come to 0 and paste it right there. So that is going to give us this like this. So if we go back to the tunnel stroke again, you will see that this is staying a bit more longer. So now with this selected, we're going to switch this to effects and control. We're going to go into the lights and then change the color. So set the blend mode for this layer to screen. We're going to set this to -57. Ctrl D on your keyboard to duplicate this again. For this layer, expand the light color again, change the light direction to 38. Then we're going to change this color. Ctrl D on your keyboard to duplicate this layer again. So we're going to also change the color. Set light direction to 155. Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate this layer. We're going to expand the light direction and set this to 155. So we're going to set this color to a warm color. Then we're going to expand the rotation and set the rotation for Z to 180. Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate this again. So we're going to set the layer color here so that we can differentiate which point we are. We're going to go into the light color right here, the light option, and set the color. Set the light direction to 45. Hit U on the keyboard to reveal the keyframe for this. So we're going to move to the last keyframe right here and change the value to 1290. And we're going to go back to 0 and set that to -2090. Let's open up the rotation and then change the Z cylindrical rotation to 0. So now with this T selected, we're going to Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate it, expand the light option and set a color. Change the light direction to 31. Duplicate it one more time, expand the light option and set a color for this. And we're going to set the light direction to 309. You have to duplicate it again one more time, set the color, set light direction to 157, expand the rotation and make the Z axis 180. Now go to the main comp. Right click on your timeline, go to new and create a new solid layer. We're going to set this to a dark color. Make comp size and then hit OK. Bring it below the logo composition. So we're going to switch this to the project manager window and then drag and drop the tunnel stroke below the logo composition right here on the timeline. So if you scroll forward now, this is what you can have. So we're going to toggle this timeline so that we can reveal this blend mode. So we're going to set the mode to screen. With the stroke layer still selected, we're going to add a levels effect to this. the input white, make it 150. Add a glow effect. You're gonna collapse all these options here so that you can see what you are doing. So we're gonna make the radius 50 here. Collapse all the option, Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate it. Then we're gonna set this radius to 100. We're gonna duplicate it again and then set the radius to 250. Drop the intensity to 0.5. So with this layer still selected on the timeline, we're gonna hit T on the keyboard to reveal the opacity. So we're gonna come right here some few frames forward and set a keyframe for the opacity. Then we're gonna move back to 0 and set the opacity to 0. Then we're gonna move very close to 3 seconds forward in time. Then we're gonna have to create this same keyframe right there for the opacity at 100. Then at 3 seconds forward in time, drop the opacity to 0. With the tunnel stroke still selected, Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate it. So we're gonna add radial fast blur to this. That is CC radial fast blur. Collapse all these options so that we can see our parameters. So let's make the amount 89. With this still selected on the timeline, hit U on the keyboard to reveal its opacity. So we're gonna somehow offset these keyframes to look like this on the timeline. Now let's collapse all these options right here. So we can also set color for this. This is only but a guide to help us separate and differentiate what all these layers stands for. So now we're going to select the logo layer, toggle your timeline and make it a 3D layer. So we're going to go to 2 seconds, that is about 6 frames after 2 seconds. Then we're going to hit P on the keyboard to reveal the position property and we'll set a keyframe right there. Then we're going to go to 1 second 12 frames forward in time or backward in time and then set the Z value to -3000. Select all the keyframe, hit F9 on your keyboard to ease. Select the keyframe, go into the graph editor and pull the graph like this. So Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate this logo layer, then hit T on the keyboard, then move to 3 seconds forward in time and set a keyframe for the opacity. So we're going to move this one backward a bit. Then we're going to set the opacity value to 0 at this point. Then with this layer still selected, we're going to add CC radial fast blur. We're going to set the amount to 100. Move your time indicator to about this point and set a keyframe for the amount on the radial fast blur. So we're going to move to 3 seconds forward in time and set the amount right here to 0. Hit U on your keyboard to reveal the keyframes. Select the keyframes, hit F9 on your keyboard to ease. So let's toggle this to project manager window. We're going to add the logo holder composition right to the top of all this hierarchy. So Ctrl A to select all of them. Then we're going to have to collapse all these options. So now we're going to add a fill effect to this. Set the color to white. Let's add a Vegas effect to this. Expand the image contour. We're going to go to this blend mode and set it to transparent. So now we're going to need to isolate the layer by checking this icon here. That way we have isolated the layer. The layer is only the one we're going to see. So we're going to set segment to 1. Move your time indicator to 1 second forward in time and we're going to set a keyframe for the length. So now hit U on the keyboard right here. So we're going to set the length value to 0. Then move your time indicator to 2 seconds forward in time and set the length to 1. And then move your time indicator to 3 seconds forward in time and set the length to 0. Or you can just simply copy this keyframe and then paste it right there. Alt click on the rotation right here and enter this expression, time asterisk -300. Select all these keyframe, right click on your timeline, go to keyframe assistance, then ease, collapse the Vegas effect. We're gonna add a CC radial fast blur. Let's move 1 second 18 frames forward in time, and we're gonna set a keyframe for the amount and make that 75. So we're gonna go to 3 seconds forward in time and make that amount to 0. Expand the Vegas effect and then set a color. So let's add a glow effect. Collapse the glow effect, Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate it, then set the radius to 25. Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate it one more time and set this radius to 55. So let's move our time indicator outside right here to about 4 seconds forward in time. Hit N to set a preview limit. So what we're going to do now is to make sure we make this a 3D layer. Then we're going to pick with it to be a child of this logo holder below it. That way it moves along with this. So now we're going to Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate this. So expand the Vegas effect and change the color. With the layer still selected, hit T on the keyboard to set a keyframe for the opacity. So we're going to come right here and set a keyframe for the opacity. Then we're going to go to 3 seconds forward in time and set the opacity values to 0. Then hit P on the keyboard to reveal the position property. On the Z value, we're going to make it 1000. Duplicate this logo holder layer again, and this time we're going to go into the Vegas effect and change the color. Hit P on the keyboard to reveal the opposition property. So we're going to set the position right here to -2500. Hit T on the keyboard to reveal the opacity. We're going to offset this quite a bit. We can still work on that later when we reveal all the logo. So let's fit this to screen. So now we're gonna unsolo the layers. Ctrl A on your keyboard to highlight all. Hit U on the keyboard to collapse all the options. So we're gonna select these upper logos except the first one. Then we're going to change the blend mode to add. Toggle the timeline if you cannot see that option. So we're going to change this to add. So we're going to preview this now. So this is what we have as final result for this light tunnel logo reveal animation. So from this point, you can always go back to the logo holder composition, drop any logo into it, and it will still give you the same effect. So if you find this tutorial interesting, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to advance your skill further, you can check this tutorial here on the end card. Check it out. It is going to make you a better animator. So until I see you again on the next one, my name is SSB Otaru for MotionDigit Studios.